There's a front line of groups that are organized into the American anti-immigration movement. All of these organizations are either funded by John Tanton and his funding outfit, US Inc., or were founded by John Tanton. The interesting thing is that John Tanton actually started from the left. He's an ophthalmologist in northern Michigan, and he was involved in environmental causes. And at one point actually had a leadership position in the Sierra Club. That involvement led him to interest in population control. And in sort of a really terrible downward spiral, he went from population control to seeing immigrants as people who have too many children, who breed too much, and who are ultimately going to wipe out the white race. In 1988, a series of memos that he had written were leaked to the Arizona Republic. And those memos said things like that Tanton was concerned about a coming Latin onslaught. He also questioned the, quote, educability of Latin Americans who were coming to the United States. He talked about the dangers of Latino Catholics outbreeding whites in this country. He actually said at one point, will people with their pants up be caught by those with their pants down? John Tanton's right-hand man in his offices in Petoskey, Michigan is a guy named Wayne Lutton. He was an editorial advisor to the Council of Conservative Citizens, and that is a blatantly white supremacist organization. The Council of Conservative Citizens has done such things as compared, for example, Michael Jackson to an ape on its website. Very graphic racism. He spends all of his time on the hate circuit in the United States and pushing the message that immigrants are bringing disease to the United States, that they're destroying American culture, that they're overwhelming whites. It's a constant white supremacist message about anti-immigrant groups. The most important organization that Tanton created, and which has been the funding arm of the anti-immigration movement for years, is an outfit called US Inc. It's one that most people don't know about, and its headquarters are in Petoskey, Michigan, which is where John Tanton lives and works. And US Inc. would funnel funds from right-wing foundations like the SCAFE foundations to the anti-immigration groups that he went on then to found. The most important of which is the Federation for American Immigration Reform, which he founded in 1979. The Federation for American Immigration Reform has become the leading organization that the press goes to for comment on immigration issues. And they have become the voice of the anti-immigration movement in the press.
If we don't care about illegal immigration or anything else associated with anti-terror, we're going to go back to business as usual and we'll have another 9/11.
Really, the entire system Tanton has set up is to, on the one hand, pander to the extremists that you know will join your ranks and back you and fund you and attend your events, and on the other hand, try to use groups like FAIR to present a sort of more moderate face that seems disconnected from these folks, but really at the end of the day isn't. They had a guy named Joe Turner who was employed as their Western regional representative for a few years, who was a defender of white separatism. And before he came to FAIR, he had founded in 2005 a group called Save Our State, which liked to have neo-Nazis as its rallies. US Inc. also runs the Social Contract Press, which is a group we list actually as a hate group because it publishes the works of several white supremacist individuals, as well as is the publisher of The Camp of the Saints. It's a lurid novel that describes dark-skinned hordes invading France and literally pillaging their way through Europe. The Center for Immigration Studies is a think tank in Washington, D.C. that puts up reams of studies about the problems that immigration creates in the United States. They have put out studies about criminality in immigrants, how the immigrant population is exploding. They don't put out studies ever that say that immigration is good in some way for the United States. When it was established in the mid-'80s, it was actually under FAIR, the Federation for American Immigration Reform's tax umbrella. At this point, it's a separate organization, but it was created by John Tanton and his organization, US Inc. They still receive funding from US Inc. Their materials are pushed and pumped up by organizations like the Federation for American Immigration Reform. Oftentimes they will present themselves in the press as being all on their own, all alone, the Center for Immigration Studies, and having nothing to do with these other organizations. It's just false. They were born and bred in this milieu.
The bill itself provides for 30 million green cards, and then you've got all of the enticement to the next 10, 15, 20 million illegal aliens to come on down.
Numbers USA probably has the quietest tone in terms of its anti-immigrant beliefs. When they talk about immigration, they talk about it almost from a leftist position. I mean, they talk about the impact of immigrants on the environment, for example, or on sprawl, the creation of sprawl, those kinds of issues. But that doesn't belay the fact that Roy Beck actually for years was the Washington editor of John Tanton's The Social Contract Press. This is a publication and a group that we list as a hate group because it puts out things like an issue on Europhobia and how white people are being destroyed by immigrants coming here. So although Roy Beck may look very plain-spoken and very somber about the issue of immigration and as though he's just concerned about the environment or population growth, he has a past with Tanton that's deep and goes back to Tanton's racist beliefs. There's been a precipitous rise in the number of hate groups in the United States over the last several years. In 2000, we recorded 602 hate groups in the U.S. By 2006, that was up to 844. That represented a 40% rise over just a few years in the number of hate groups. For 2007, there's going to be 888 hate groups. And the driving factor that we found behind this really incredible rise of these groups is a shift to pounding the anti-immigrant drum. And it's been extremely successful as a recruiting message. They use it on their websites, they use it in their publications, they use it in email alerts, in Yahoo groups. They have protests constantly. Every one of them recruits now on immigration. Send the immigrants back. Go home where you came from. You know, no way, Jose. All that kind of business. That's what's driving the rise of hate groups. That and almost that alone.